House has voted to overturn President Donald Trump's tariffs on Canada. 6 Republicans sided with nearly all Democrats to approve the move. But even if it does clear the Senate, the measure can be vetoed by the president. Speaker Mike Johnson called the vote disappointing and suggested it's pointless. So for more on this, I want to bring in CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe. Look, Ed, this kind of pushback is pretty rare, right? I mean, how is the Trump administration responding to this?
Rare in the Trump era, for sure. Chanel, good to see you. The president was making direct threats to some of these Republicans on social media, suggesting yet again that if they vote against him, he will work to make sure they don't win their re-elections later this year. Problem is, a bunch of the Republicans who voted against it, or in essence with Democrats against the White House, are retiring or need to demonstrate distance from the White House in order to hold on to their districts later this year. And so it's sort of a sign of where things could, and we should underscore, emphasize, underline, could be headed. We could look, for example, these 6 here, great example. So Tom Massey's he's kind of been written off by Republican leadership entirely because he has big disagreements on a suite of things. Don Bacon's retiring. Brian Fitzpatrick's from a suburban Philadelphia district that was won by Democrats. He's got to demonstrate some distance. Dan Newhouse of Washington State's also retiring. Kevin Kiley is one of those Republicans who was drawn out of his current district in California and told us last night on the takeout he's still debating which other district to run in, and just felt generally that the White House is wrong to be telling Congress they can't debate tariffs when, in fact, the Constitution says it's Congress that sets tariff rates. So this is the kind of disagreement we haven't quite seen before, but it's an early signal of where congressional Republicans may be headed more often as we get closer to the election, when the president's approval ratings are pretty low, and these guys got to worry about winning an election in November.
Yeah. Also want to ask you about these Buddhist monks. They concluded that, 108 days of walking, and they got to D.C. yesterday with this really incredible message. You actually spoke to the leader when they got there to D.C. So what did they say? Yes, today, actually, their journey now has stretched 110 days. Wow. And they are leaving Washington this morning to stop at a temple outside Annapolis, Maryland, where they will conclude their trip and then take a bus back to Texas. These guys have been at it since late October. This is the live shot, right, in Annapolis. So this is the kind of crowds they've been getting now for several weeks as they've trekked from Fort Worth, Texas, starting in late October, through the Deep South, up the East Coast, walking in some of the coldest temperatures these states have seen over the last 110 days or so. And the guy in charge, who we spoke with yesterday, of the group, said he's been thinking about this for 3 years, was inspired to put it together during the pandemic, and has been really touched by the outpouring of interest and support they've received as they've marched along the way. You may have noticed he has a sash that's covered in police badges and pins from police agencies that have helped block the streets as they've gone. He said he's up to 4 sashes worth of these police badges, just showing the kind of respect and intrigue they've had. We talked to him a little bit about it yesterday. Take a listen to what he had to say.
That people will live in harmony, unity, and live with mindfulness so that this world will become a better place for all people to live. And the message, the key that I always share, that I always talk about, that is mindfulness is the only way for us to have peace for ourselves. Peace always begins with ourselves. It's not the world peace out there. No one can change this world. But together, all people and all the venerable monks are walking together on this journey, this path. We can make a difference. We can change.
The Venerable Pandyakarana told us that they will consider taking another walk like this at some point, if they're so moved to do so, because they've seen such a widespread and unexpected outpouring of intrigue and support for their walk. So a pretty interesting group of people to do this, and they have drawn huge crowds, guys, ever since people started catching on to this late last year.
Yeah, I think it really speaks to how much all of us really need those positive vibes.
100%. And one of the things that I note is that when they go through the communities, Ed, I've had people DM me this, how quiet everybody is as they watch them.
They asked them to be quiet, and they've also told people, don't follow us because you're not doing it the way we do, which is to walk quietly, to focus on their breathing. This is a live shot of a crowd there in Annapolis preparing for them. The way they're doing it, the meditative way they do it, is one that requires silence, requires complete focus, and they know that people are bound to just be filming them and talking amongst themselves. They said that's not what this is about. So observe it quietly, let us do our thing, and think peaceful thoughts once we're gone.
Yeah,
Love that.
Yeah.
Even observing can be a mindful practice. Thanks, Ed.
Thank you,
Exactly.
Ed.